Hello, Recall Truth followers. We have a very special guest today. Her name is Tammy Goen, and she works with highly sensitive women to help all of us, that's me too, stop hiding, feeling wrong, playing small, and trying to be less sensitive. And so we can recognize and honor our unique gifts and talents and embrace our sensitive nature so we can be a gentle yet strong force in the world. And Tammy is also a highly sensing person herself, and she knows what it's like to navigate a non highly sensitive world, or a world that's not set up for it anyway. She loves to help her sensitive clients develop tools to minimize overwhelm, develop self compassion, self love, and embrace their trait to allow it become their superpower. Her sensitivities also help with working with non-highly sensitives to understand her client's experience and intuiting how to help. So Tammy is not just a highly sensitive person, she's also a licensed professional counselor, a massage therapist, an energy worker, and a holistic coach. So she has many modalities that she incorporates, and it's all for helping highly sensitive women to thrive. So welcome, Tammy. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me. And I just want to throw in a little disclaimer there that I'm not actually currently licensed as a professional counselor. I have been in the past.
In the past. Okay.
And then I went different directions and came back to coaching. But yeah, I have that background, but not current, in case that's important to anybody.
Okay, no worries, but great to know you have that background and that understanding. Really important. My background is psychology as well. So I'm with you on that. It's important. It seems like we're drawn to that area, people who are highly sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah, we do tend to be helpers and healers and alternative focused, all of those things, because we have that curiosity and open-mindedness and like wanting to learn everything. And sometimes just whatever's the status quo not enough, doesn't quite
That's exactly what
fill
I
up
was
all
thinking.
the possibilities.
Right, more possibilities. Yes, I like that. Not enough. I was definitely thinking that just in general. And I like the word alternative. I used to not like it, but it's a good way to say there are more options, get people's attention going in different directions. So for you, what is high sensitivity? What does that mean for you?
So first, I like the term highly sensing, and you did mention that once. And so I just want to explain that. And I mean, it's the same thing, but I like that term just because in our society in particular, the term sensitivity or sensitive kind of has a negative connotation. Or people, I find, when I say, oh, I work with highly sensitives, then they say, oh yeah, and then they have their own preconceived idea of what that means, which may or may not be accurate. So when I say highly sensing, which is really what it's all about, it's how we sense the world, then it opens up more, more to curiosity, like, oh, highly sensing, well, what is that? And what is that all about? And so it doesn't have that negative connotation. So that's what I use, generally speaking. So yes, to follow that up, highly sensing folks, we are like giant sponges without all the filters that everyone else might have. It's just all about processing really, really deeply and giving a lot of meaning to everything. And throughout my life, I always would sit back and see somebody do something and think, well, how would you ever, why would you ever do such a thing? Because I would never do it. And I'd try to make sense of it. And but there was so much meaning involved, because, oh, if I did it, it meant this, and if this person did it, it meant, that kind of stuff all throughout my life. And now, of course, I understand. It's like, well, that's because I give so much meaning to everything, and I consider all the parameters and all the potentials, and I never can just see something and go, oh, okay, that's the way that person does that. Next.
Right.
Or you hear that a lot. Oh, just, it's not that big a deal. Just let it go. You think, well, yeah, not a big deal for you. It's more of a big deal for me, just because I need that closure or an understanding, or wait, there's so many different ways to look at it. And so it really is about that depth of processing and the meaning that's given to everything. And so I think one of the most powerful things about becoming aware of high sensitivity and saying, oh, wait, that's me, is being able to just reframe everything in our lives up until this point that was a struggle or that, felt really awful, or we thought, well, someone didn't care about me or respect me. And now we can look at it and go, oh, okay, well, now I get why I do things the way I do and have always, and why I got those responses, because those other people weren't, looking through the same lens. And so sometimes it's immediately you can just let go of some things because you realize, okay, well, now I get it. It doesn't mean that that's the way I would want to continue things, or that was an okay thing, like on my behalf, that I would have done it, but still now I can understand it and say, oh, okay, so it wasn't really about me, and it wasn't about, the way I saw it. It was just different. And so I think that's one of the main benefits to becoming aware of it, is not only realizing it's not just you. They're saying up to even 30% of the population now is highly sensing, but recognizing that all of those experiences that we have had have a reason,
Right.
and they're not wrong or bad or needing to be changed or different. They're just different than average, whatever, that
Right.
might.
Right. That's exactly right. And I love the way that you use sensing. It's a verb instead of like a label, well, this is on me. This is how I am, instead of this is how I be. This is what I do. I like that. And then people can think, okay, this is not like a handicap. This is a gift. This is a tool that I can use. This is something in my wheelhouse, just like language or whatever I'm good at. So I
And
like
another term is just high sensory.
that.
Use that term also, because that's what it all is about too. Just it being in that place of high sensory experience, because it's all about sensing, bringing all that stuff in like the sponge that we are, and then processing it all and having so much more meaning to everything, because we're not picking just one little thing, to focus on or process. We're processing all of that, and
Everything.
so there's so much meaning, and all of that is definitely sensory based.
Yeah. And just how you're talking about not letting anyone make you wrong for doing that. That's so important, especially for kids. I know I spend time talking with my daughter. She's definitely highly sensing. And just saying, hey, it's okay if you see all of that and nobody around you is noticing all those details. It's okay. She's an artist. So it's on
Yeah.
top of it, she's even more focused on details and people's features and different things. So no, it's good to kind of make a note of that and let people know, especially kids. So, okay, let's switch gears a little bit. You also have worked a lot with professionals and people who have to bring their sensitivity to work, right? We take it everywhere we go, to work, to their business. What are some challenges that you've seen for people who are, men and women, but, the women that you work with in the business world?
There's a lot. There's the whole imposter syndrome thing. So I'll put that out there and then we can come back to that. But there's also things like, environment. Sometimes we're in situations that just aren't supportive to our, we can get really distracted or not able to, if we can have the right environment and the right support, we can be laser focused and really, be efficient and create amazing, product, whatever that is. But we can be distracted by sounds or energies or lights or things that are going on. If there's just too much going on in our environment, then that really detracts from our ability to focus. So sometimes it's just purely environmental. Sometimes it's the emotional piece in terms of community interactions, right? There's always the pecking order and all of the different stuff happens socially with even in the workspace.
Right.
So being aware of that and wanting everything to be just right, but picking up on the vibes that aren't really going well, that aren't really positive or flowing, that can be definitely a challenge. We can be kind of rattled by either inflexible schedules or just like stuff that comes up at the last minute. We're not prepared. Oh, right. I need you to do this by 4:00 today. And you're going, well, wait, no, preparation needs some little prep time. So surprises and the way things are organized sometimes can be challenging if people aren't aware of what those needs are. Like, hey, you know, I can work really well with a deadline as long as I have enough preparation and support and all of the things that I need to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So those are some things that definitely can pop up. And then back to that whole imposter syndrome thing can be, I mean, everyone can be dealing with that, but especially for highly sensing folks who are more likely to be concerned about what other people think and how they're seen, and you know, second guessing our abilities because we can tend to compare with other people and see ourselves as so different and think, oh, I must be lacking in some way, instead of saying, oh, look at, you know, look at what I have to offer that's different. It's more likely to the, you know, over cultural expectations and things like that to be like, oh, okay, wait a minute, I'm doing this, approaching this really differently than everyone else. There must, maybe I need to change that.
Yeah.
But in general, just that need to be perfect tends to be much stronger with highly sensing folks. So all of that together can really lead us to that point of thinking, okay, even though I get really good feedback and recognition for the stuff that I do, maybe it's not enough, or yeah, if I compare it to this other person, maybe I don't think it's really that great. I mean, the one that always sticks out for me is a client that I worked with for a while who, she was in a management position. She'd been there for years, and she had just come back from a, like a, not a workshop, but a conference where she actually spoke, you know, a bunch of people, and this is in the healthcare field. And I saw her shortly after that, and she, you know, in spite of all of that, and she had people coming up to her saying, you know, what a great presentation and all of the information and just all of this really positive feedback. And still she sat there and said, but I don't get it, because I don't see that. I mean, I don't even know why I'm in this position. Why would someone think I'm a leader? But, and it came down to seeing that she was comparing herself to what the status quo of, like, oh, what I see that others see as a typical leader. I don't follow any of that. I don't fall into that, most of those categories at all, or those, you know, experiences. And so helping her understand that, you know, so by even just asking her, well, what would a leader that you appreciate and respect look like? What would that leadership look like? And she was able to identify all that and say, okay, so which one do you have more traits of? And being able to identify, oh, you know, maybe there is something to that, but it's different. And that can just really be a challenge, and especially in the entrepreneurial space or management, you know, arena. That comes up quite a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, we're compared and we pick up on nuances as highly sensing people. So when someone is judging or someone has an issue with something, it's really big and loud in our head, and it may have never even been verbally expressed, but can't deny that it's still there. So definitely, I definitely had to learn that. And when people would say things like, I'm fine, and they weren't fine, you know, and you could tell, like, no, you're stressed out. But our culture is not for that, like saying exactly what's there.
And highly sensing people are really prone to that same thing. And if you look at our nervous system, people are used to hearing these days like fight or flight, but there's fight, flight, freeze. I can't do anything, shut down. But there's also fawn, which is like what you're saying. It's like, oh no, I'm fine. I'm good. Don't worry about me. Don't look at me. No, it's all fine. Like, bam, and yeah, that's the reality. I mean, we can pick that up from other people, but we can also operate from that place. And if we are in that place, it actually means that we're tapped out. You know, we're in that place of overwhelm where we're just like, oh no, I can manage it. It's okay. Everything's all right.
Exactly. Yeah. That is a big deal with highly sensitive people, being tapped out, knowing before you get tapped out so you can step away or, you know, prevent it. Sometimes people just stay in a perpetual state. That was me before I understood what to do. I was perpetually burnout. So I get it.
Yeah. And it doesn't take us as much to get burned out as a non-highly sensing person, because we're taking so much stuff in, and our nervous systems are already amped up. So we have to be that much more vigilant to take care
Yeah.
of ourselves. Yeah.
So on a positive note, not that what we were saying was negative, but it is not
It's
the
about
best
a
all the
challenge.
time. But as far as potential for leadership with highly sensing people, what traits do highly sensing people have that may not be as strong or as present with non-high sensing people that would make good leaders?
So, what a lot of the traits, or a lot of the pieces of the bigger trait of sensitivity, if you will, are, can be benefits and challenges, right?
Mhm.
Depending on what the mindset is, how they're approached, but also what the support is, and how we manage things. But a lot of it is how we see things. So one of those things of seeing like the bigger picture can be really overwhelming, and we can
Right.
just be like, gosh, can I just pay attention to one thing and not everything all at once? But if we're in a really good state and we're taking care of ourselves and we're not overwhelmed, that becomes a major benefit, to be
Mhm.
able to look at all sides and see all the different potentials, and
Mhm.
also be able to know, we can sit back and go, this person needs this person works well with this person, this is really not a good idea. We have a sense of what works and doesn't work with everyone,
Yeah.
and what can make the group or the organization or whatever function more efficiently, because we are aware of all of those things. So if we have the ability to make an impact that way,
Mhm.
it can be huge, because we can see all that. We can be very diplomatic and say, oh, well, let's look at what it means for everyone to be equal, or to have an equal say, and that can look different for each person. But how can we create that milieu, within the workspace? And we're more prone to all of those little factors that help us to do that, to sit back and go, oh, okay, well, let's consider all of the different sides, all of the angles, all the potentials, and recognize that everyone has their own vision of everything, and how does all of that work together. So I think that's probably the strongest
Mhm.
piece of that leadership ability, is just bringing all of that together, and yeah, being able to step back and look at something from a bigger view, to recognize where things aren't working, and where things can be shifted or reinforced, or what is working, what's not working, how can we make the stuff that's working more efficient, and shift away from what's not working, whether that's within a team, or just actual mechanism of whatever the company is.
Mhm.
So those things are really key. But a lot of it is really that awareness and noticing things. And then if we can pay attention to and listen to our intuition. I mean, you know all about this,
Mhm.
and our energy effects. We know when something's not right, or not going to work, or we just get those hits, right?
Right.
That's like, I don't think this is a good idea. Being able to honor that, to the point of being able to say to someone, even if you think they're going to think I'm crazy, but like, I don't know where this is coming from, that I can tell you, something concrete, but based on all of these other things, this is my sense, and I think this is, the best plan, or whatever. Sometimes that can be heard, and sometimes it takes a while for folks to see that or allow for that. But
Mhm.
we pay attention to those hits that we get, that say, yeah, I think I kind of figure out what's going on here, and this is a direction that's the best way to go. But if we sit back and go, well, nobody asked me, or this is different than everyone else is suggesting, maybe I should be quiet. And then then we sit back and just watch it happen, and go, oh yeah, I knew
Should have
that.
said that.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but if we just can, honor that, own it,
Mhm.
step up and go, yep, I know this might seem crazy to you, or I can't really tell you exactly where this comes from, but this is really strong sense for me. And what about trying this?
Yeah.
So being able to listen to that is powerful.
Yeah, I think a lot of highly sensing people haven't been taught to value their intuition as much as their intelligence. I talk about that a lot. And they both have a place. I mean, we all know about the kind of airy fairy intuition only type of situation. And then we know about, intelligence only as
Right.
well. And it's really meant to work together. So yeah, I agree with that. And since you specialize in working with women, I want to also add that a lot of women do that and are expected to do that without, I'm talking about, looking at the bigger picture, getting everyone to kind of harmonize and compromise together without realizing that is a skill. That is a skill that we are expected to have. Everyone doesn't have it. Everyone hasn't been trained, but I would say
Mhm.
that many women, especially mothers and wives, are expected to really get that going.
Yeah.
And it's not honored as a skill always in the workplace, but yeah, it's expected for
Mhm.
sure. It's expected.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay. So very good. If there was something you could leave with everyone, just about whether you're highly sensing or not, just something you could leave with everyone to move forward and just in their own, just in respect for their own abilities, their own traits, what would you offer?
Following up on what we were just talking about, listening to ourselves. If you
Mhm.
get a gut reaction of some kind, really listening. But one of the ways you can follow up on that, or any kind of resistance or friction that you run up against, or you're just not sure about stuff. I think curiosity
Mm,
is so important. So I think it can be easier for us highly sensing folks to get frustrated because we have high expectations of ourselves and others, and things don't always, follow along the way we would want them to. So we can get frustrated easily. But anytime that we find ourselves frustrated or hitting a wall, or we have a hit, but we're not, oh, I don't know if I should listen to this. Just stepping into that place of saying, I wonder what this means, or I
mhm,
wonder what would happen, or I wonder, is there something I'm not seeing, but just being in that place of curiosity kind of, cuts the frustration pretty quickly. And
mhm.
it does open up for, it's like, oh yeah, let me look at it because I'm good at this. I'm, looking at all the different possibilities instead of just being, narrowly focused on, I wanted it to be like this one way or whatever, and it didn't work. So
And
I'm just
everything else.
frustrated, but a bit like, oh, okay. So I wonder, why? I wonder,
Mhm.
why am I frustrated? Or I wonder why that didn't work. What could, what could be shifted, or what am I seeing, or what am I thinking? But just opening up that, whatever the frustration or wall that you're hitting, just being in that place of curiosity.
Yeah, that's much kinder. That's much kinder. So, Tammy, do you have any resources that you can share with everyone? Any way for people to contact you if they want to get more support or learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that I offer is available on Linktree.
Mhm.
So anybody who's not familiar with that, linktr.ee, and then slash in my name. And there's a couple free ebooks on there. There's, my Facebook group, and a weekly TV show, and all kinds of different resources. But also, if anybody wants to just reach out to me directly, I can provide a digital copy of my most recent co-authored book, number 18 in the Change series. So I
Okay.
have access to that I can provide that. Be happy to pass that along. So it has, a chapter of me talking about sensitivity, but of course, 21 other people talking about various other things that would be worth looking at. So yeah.
Great. I will include that. Thank you so much for your time today and answering questions. We're on the same page about so many things. So it's great. It was like talking to a good friend who understands what you're going through and what your experience is about. So that's always
Yeah,
refreshing.
and I just have to say that I'm always so happy when I talk with someone who has a highly sensing child who gets it, and they're so like poised to give them the best of everything growing up. So it just makes me so happy that you have that awareness in yourself, and you can do that as a parent. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm intending, my goal is to do things differently than what I experienced wasn't a horrible childhood, but it wasn't sensitive focused. It wasn't sensing, it didn't honor that. We'll just leave it at that. So again, you can find Tammy's resources at Linktree, so linktr.ee/Tammy Goen. And you can find her resources there. She has lots of great things and also a way to contact her there. And if you want to learn more about Recall Truth, you can go to bit.ly/RECALLTRUTH. That's the bit.ly for my subscription. So you can find out about attracting your ideal client and increasing your revenue in your business. That's my specialty. So thank you so much for joining us. And as always, we care about highly sensitive people, especially business owners, bringing their magic to the world. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you again, Tammy.
Thank you for having me.
All right.